Yeah, you gonna eat it? So we are up. It's a natural area. So there's natural areas where you can find morels. There's riparian areas, and then there's burn areas. Burn areas, a lot of times they'll have more morels, a slightly different type of morel. But we kind of like the natural areas because once you figure out where they're at, you can just come back year after year. So we are on the east side of Mount Hood. We're about 2,000 to 3,000 feet. We're looking for grand firs, kind of a nice natural area for morel mushrooms. And of course, with morels, whenever there's like a disturbance, trees dying, a lot of times it causes the morels to fruit. So if you see like a dead grand fir, that's definitely going to be a good spot to go. And we were looking, and yeah, we found this really nice cluster. These are black morels. They're a double wall morel, which is really good compared to a fire morel. These black morels, they have more substance to them. I can kind of show you what I mean by double wall. So if you cut the base of it, you kind of see how there's two different walls there. So in a fire morel, a lot of times there'll just be a single wall. They'll be much thinner. And so they might look the same volume, but the black morels actually get quite a bit more for the same amount of morels because they're just a heavier, chunkier morel.
Meatier.
Yeah, they're meatier. Yeah. And then this is one of the ways you can tell a true morel too, is these ridges, they won't overlap the stem very much. You can see just a little tiny bit there. So let me cut it down the center and you can see. Because verpas or the half freeze, those are this ridge part goes down, doesn't go down the stalk at all. So you'll see that ends about here, and then they got a big overlap on the stalk. So what you want to do is, if you're not quite sure, you can cut them in half, and then you can see the true morels. You can see how these ridges, that cap meets the stem way down there. And yeah, these are really nice. Mid-May, so see there's no bugs in these. That's one thing you want to check with morels, because later in the year they'll get bugs in there. You can see little holes and stuff like that. That might be, it's like little worms, little larvae gets in there, or there's ants, and there's other little critters sometimes. But we were just early enough. It's probably about perfect time. That's one thing about morels. You got to do it at the right time of year. You know, mid-May, June, early June is probably the best time if you want a surefire bet. A lot of times we come up in the mountains here because it's just a lot nicer area to look. Earlier in the year, you can go down in the riparian areas, kind of by the cottonwoods and stuff, but you end up getting into a lot of like poison oak, nettles, and of course like the blackberry patches and stuff like that. So it's just much more pleasant to come up, get mountain morels later in the year. This is what I end up doing all the time. We get enough later in the year where we don't have to go down lower earlier in the year. So, what's the baby doing? Oh, that's looking. Uh-oh. What is that little guy doing? He wants to go inside that log or something. Doesn't he? How many do we have here? 7 or something?
3 more.
There's probably 7 of them right here. You can eat it. I can eat it.
No.
Okay, these morels, you want to cook them before you eat them. They're not going to make you like... It's not going to be poisonous, but there's a little bit of something that you want to cook off in these. If you eat them raw, your stomach will get a little upset.
What?
And this is a baby's first morel. It's the first time he's ever... Okay, thank you, mister. Thank you. So, and then usually when I pick them, I will get rid of the dirt too. Because otherwise what happens is the dirt gets in all these little crevices and it's really a pain to get out. So before you put them in the bag, just take off that dirt area. You can just use your hands, or you know, if you got a knife, you can just cut them off nice and smooth. Right?
Oh, it's
see?
There's one over there.
Where?
Oh, it's a rock. No, it's Morel. Did you see that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah, I saw one.
That's pretty good. That one?
Honey, there's another one. Did you see it?
Then I was just noting to my wife, look at there's the fir tree, grand fir. And then here, look, we got one there. Oh, look at all these too. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4.
And 2 over there.
Yeah.
2 over there.
And then there's, yeah, another 2 nice ones here too. So what do we got? 4, 8, at least 8 of them right here.
Don't step on it.
And probably more. Oh yeah, there's another one.
One over there.
Yep. So that's another little one. So actually in another spot back there, we found a bunch of little ones. Probably like 10 little tiny ones in one spot. So what we did, we just marked it. And then we're gonna come back in a week or 2 and get them when they're bigger. Because a lot of these, these smaller ones, you'd have to pick like 10 of those to equal 1 big one. So in a lot of cases, it's worth it just waiting a little bit for them to get bigger and then pick them when they're bigger. Because then you get about 10 times as much. So these are snow morels, or they're also called early morels. They typically come up a little bit earlier than the true morels. And they're called snow morels because a lot of times there's still snow on the ground when you find them. They are classified, well, they're a type of false morel, but a lot of times you can eat these. We just haven't really done it because we get enough real morels where we don't have to. And yeah, we just usually get our fill of the true morels, so we just haven't experimented with these. But I guess if you're trying to cook them, a lot of times you have to cook them quite a while in order to get the toxins off of them. And you also want to make sure you're getting the right one because there is a couple different varieties of these. I know there is a Facebook group and it's called False Morels Demystified. That's probably a good place to go if you want to check and see if people are able to identify them for you, whether they're the really poisonous ones or they're just the mildly poisonous ones that you can cook off the toxins. And there we go, beef stroganoff with lots of morel mushrooms. It's delicious. Can't go wrong with that.